Scott's speech is titled Who I Am. Please help me in welcoming Scott Doyle.
Who I am. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and guests. To know who I am, you need to know who my family is. Our family immigrated in the 1800s from Ireland to the eastern townships of Quebec. There they developed and flourished. My mother is one of 18 children, and my dad is one of 5. As you can imagine, the family get-togethers were quite large. My parents' family commitments were greatest on Sundays. If you were within a 3-hour drive, attending supper was required. Grandma ran a very tight ship. During these simple suppers, there would be 50 to 100 people enjoying their family and getting together. While the en masse meals have stopped, our family gets together once every 5 years for a simple family reunion of approximately 1,100 people. Yes, 1,100 people. They typically take over a small town, and as you can imagine, it's very unique and eclectic. In the early 70s, my parents moved from Quebec to Alberta to chase the Western dream. My dad started out as a junior perks person in the airlines, where he spent the next 35 years developing his career. Thus, I grew up in the industry. In the early years, my mom would take me to go see my dad, typically when I pushed her buttons one too far, and he would let me play in the airplanes. Health and safety rules were much different. As my dad progressed in his career, we traveled more. Back to Quebec several times a year, to North America, Europe, etc. As I got older, I did my own traveling. In the late 80s, while the uprising was taking place in Manila, I decided it was a good time to go see a friend there. Mom was not so keen on the idea, but she got over it. However, I did pay for showing up a day later than I said I'd be back. My parents were transferred in the late 80s to Vancouver, leaving their baby 18-year-old boy behind. It's great to remind Mom of that just before Christmas, just to get that extra special guilt gift. One of my perks of my dad's position is we would always fly first class at a very much reduced rate. With my mom and dad in Vancouver, I was issued a stack of the airline tickets, and I would, at whim, on weekends, go to wherever I wanted. Often, I would take the red-eye special from Calgary to Toronto to study, clean up any last-minute projects I had to do, and have a great meal that wasn't mac and cheese. Then get back on the plane and repeat. The great thing was this was all charged directly to my dad. Made for some interesting conversations. Those days came to a close in the 80s, in the late 90s, and I embarked on building my own family. I currently have a 10-year-old son, a 16-year-old stepson, and an 18-year-old stepdaughter, who are all at different stages of hormones, activities, and life goals. While winter activities are centered on skiing, snowboarding, day-to-day events, and that ever-important Mexico trip, come April until October, we are weekend lake warriors. We have a lake property where we go to, and we spend a lot of time there. Where while we currently don't have a large family, like my parents did, we do have our lake family, where we spend a lot of time bonding over meals and music and other wonderful things. This is who I am in 6 minutes or less.